Welcome to the Almost Daily Zencast. I'm your humble and eccentric host, the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo. On today's show, too much noise. What's the solution? Some healthy grounding for clarity. Thanks for joining me, friends. Welcome to another day and another opportunity to heal and transform ourselves, each other, and the human species. So I got up today and wanted to prepare for the episode. And I didn't know what I wanted to talk about because this show is, as I have promised you before, always, except for when it's not, totally unscripted. By that, I mean that sometimes I will create a bit of a scripty thing and put it out there. But 99% of the time, this episode is me hitting record and telling you my honest, genuine, unfiltered thoughts and opinions. So in preparation for, today and in wanting to figure out something to talk about, because some days I wake up and I don't know what I'm going to say. I have no idea what I should focus on. I sometimes dread getting ready to do the show. But as you may or may not realize, I'd like this project to become my career. I've already talked about that, so I won't ramble on more about it. In searching for a theme or a subject matter, I realized two things. One, it is easy to get absolutely overwhelmed looking through headlines, scanning through news, television, scanning through social media. There's so much out there that it literally can melt the brain. Well, okay, not literally. Figuratively, let's say. I felt like my brain started to melt a little because there was so much content and not enough time. And I've felt this issue for a very long time. In other words, I've been aware of the fact that the human species has long ago created so much content that no single individual member of the human species could ever consume it all. That was true the day I was born, and it's only gotten worse in the last 44 years. As a matter of fact, if memory serves me, somebody did a data analysis of how much content, how much data, raw numbers, entertainment, etc. When you put it all together, the human species now generates more data and content per day than I think most of human history combined. Because we're all out here expressing ourselves, which in a certain way is great, right? Express yourselves. Get your ideas out there. People will find them. But also, there's so much of that going on, and so much of that is also, when something gets trending, corporations get in on it too, right? When human beings do something that becomes trendy, corporations go, well, you better get in on that. If we didn't invent it, we better co-opt it. There's so much noise that it can easily create a feeling of hopelessness. It can easily cause us to feel so overwhelmed, so cornered, so tiny and small and insignificant in the world that it's depressing. So today I just wanted to express a friendly reminder that we do not need to keep up with the Joneses in terms of media consumption. We do not owe it to every single other person on social media to reply to every single comment. It's sometimes not physically possible. What we do owe is to ourselves. We owe ourselves a sense of clarity. We owe ourselves room and space to just relax. We owe ourselves time to unwind and purge and process. So as counterintuitive as it may seem, I encourage you to take the time on a regular basis to unplug, to turn off all the screens, to take your mind away from all that input. Go stare at a beautiful view outdoors without your headphones in, without your phone at the ready. Just look at something natural, something beautiful. And that in and of itself is a challenge because we've surrounded ourselves with artifice, right? We've surrounded ourselves, we've replaced the organic jungle with a concrete jungle. But it's still possible. Find a park. Find a pretty green belt. As fake as it may be, it's the closest thing sometimes in some neighborhoods. A patch of lawn, somebody's tree across the way. Many cities have arboretums. Have you ever heard of that? An arboretum? It's like a natural museum of plants. Go to one of those. They're usually free. Take the time to clarify, to disentangle your thoughts and your feelings from all of the trending news and the important celebrity status updates. Those things are not as important as your mental health. We all want to be well informed. Well, that may or may not be true for everybody. Some people are very happy sticking to their echo chambers, and some people even know that they are keeping themselves uninformed. But it's not about which of those is better or most righteous, right? We all like to consume content. I like movies, but I have to be vigilant against the addiction of consuming content for the pointless sake of consuming more content. So for today's episode, I just wanted to encourage you, dear listeners, to find some time this upcoming weekend and to just set it all aside. Take a few deep breaths, even if the closest you can come to getting out into nature is looking out your window and staring at the clouds. If that's the best you can do, that's better than sticking your head deep inside some screen and being overwhelmed with words and headlines and videos and information, fake news, real news. Put it all down for a minute and just breathe. Breath is so important, and we take it for granted. We forget that it is the very act of being alive. Connect to your breath this weekend. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. In fact, don't worry about the time. Just set aside everything else and make yourself comfortable, indoors, outdoors, in the dark or staring at the beautiful bright clouds in the sky, whichever way makes the most sense to you. But take a moment to just abdicate all the information. Now, I'm very familiar with the next thing that most people complain about whenever I recommend meditation. The single most common response to any of the prompts I've given to people face-to-face, on the internet, etc. When I say, hey, have you tried meditating? They're like, well, I can't control my brain. I can't turn it off. It's too busy. It's too noisy. It's not about control. It's not about control. If your brain is chaotic, if your thoughts are wild and racing, do not freak out. Do not freak out about control. Instead, use forgiveness. That's like the $25 million secret. People pay a lot of money to life coaches and gurus to be helped, and quite frankly, it helps, great, do it. But to me, it seems so clear, so direct, so simple, that it's fascinating how it's often the first thing we speed right past, that we neglect, we ignore, we laugh at. Forgiveness. Forgive your racing mind. Forgive your chaotic thoughts. Forgive your tumultuous and turbulent emotions. Forgive yourself. How can you forgive others if you cannot forgive yourself first, right? And I don't mean self-indulgent forgiveness. I don't mean giving yourself a pass for your flaws and your mistakes. I mean true, compassionate, healing, loving forgiveness. That shit ain't easy, so brace yourselves. In and of itself, it will be a challenging process. But trust me, I speak from personal experience and lots of anecdotal experience shared by real people who have shared their real stories with me. If you start with forgiveness, if you start by acknowledging that you can forgive yourself, that you have the authority to truly and genuinely hold yourself accountable to your mistakes and your transgressions, see your flaws from other people's eyes, and then forgive yourself, then you will be able to forgive others, and then the real healing can begin. And I say this from the point of view of someone who fails all the time at it. You must brace yourself for failure. You must welcome the failure. You must stare failure in the eyes and go, yep, totally failed. That was me failing at whatever it is I just tried to do. Especially when it comes to transformative healing. Spiritual work is not easy. Anybody who thinks that spiritual work is easy or simple or meaningless has never really tried. Spiritual work is hard. Spiritual work will challenge you. Spiritual work will inspire you to step up in a way that no other work does. And it's difficult to describe. Words often fail, friends. And that's why the Zen masters throughout history have used poetry and symbolism and direct pointing, as they call it. Because words are limited mental constructs that we have invented. And reality, this miracle around us that we dismiss and neglect and take for granted, it is larger than words. This miracle around us and within us, for we often neglect the fact that we are integrally intra-connected with nature. right? It is a fool's point of view to think that one is superior to nature. Where did you come from? You came out of nature. Nature produced you. Nature gave birth to you. Do not underestimate nature. So, friends, I invite you to give it a try. Just 10 or 15 minutes. And dig deep. Bring yourself to that place where you know you're about to fall out of the silence. Bring yourself to that place where your own thoughts are interrupting your own efforts to center yourself. And don't get frustrated. Don't get mad. Don't judge. Don't hate. Don't be kowtowed by your own ego's attempt to derail you. Look your ego in the eye and say, I love you and I forgive you. Give it a try and see what happens. That's the mystery, the ineffable and indescribable mystery of real meditation. No one can predict to you what will happen. Only you can discover for yourself what might occur inside your soul, behind your mind, when you meditate. And trust me, the human species needs this. Not because I say so, but because it is like breathing. If we take breathing for granted, then we have forced ourselves to neglect, ostracize, and even vilify meditation. And the only way to fix that problem is to re-engage with meditation and to rediscover our own breath, to reinvestigate the mysteries within our selves and before our mental constructs. Peace, love, and grooviness blossom in your heart. Tune in for more, friends. Going to be on the airwaves all day today. For now, going to take a break. Going to leave you to it. If you've got 15 minutes right now, turn off all your electronics and just breathe. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to use a meditation music track this time. I'm just going to sit in the rawness of it.